Let's get more right now on this morning's ONS figures, which show that last year saw a record drop in annual retail sales volumes. Sales fell by 1.9%, the largest year-on-year fall since records began in 1997. With me now is Peter Corr, who's Centre Manager at Design Outlet Ashford, and also I'm joined by retail analyst Kate Hardcastle. Good morning to both of you. It's a shame we don't have better news to talk about, though entirely unsurprising that the figures are as grim as they are. I mean, Kate, your reaction, first of all, to the detail.
We have changed the way that we shop, and a lot of that has been driven by the fact we've seen this huge move online. We've seen growth online in areas of demographic that perhaps have been a little bit wary and preferred to shop in traditional stores, so the over 55s particularly. And I think we have to understand that retail is the bigger picture now. It isn't just a case of bricks and mortars versus online. It is one collaborative piece, and it's certainly the synergy of those organisations using the opportunity to best get advantage of all channels that's going to be certainly something that's going to help the future of retail. Certainly, though, when it comes to traditional bricks and mortar, our nervousness is there. Even when we could return to stores, footfall has been diminished and low. People have wanted to stick to the bare essentials. And we have to remember in all of this, we do shop emotionally. When it's not the essential products like food, we absolutely are bound by the fact that we either feel we can afford to spend the time browsing, or we actually pull back. And we've seen growth in areas that make sense last year, like hobbies and schooling and home office equipment, but we've seen a huge decline in areas like fashion. So I think these figures tell us exactly what we know. We're shopping relative and reactive to the situation born out of COVID.
Peter, just picking up on something Kate said, I mean, do you think we should look at retail as one collaborative enterprise, physical shops and online, or is there a clear tension now because of the events of the last year or so between physical presence and online presence?
No, I mean, I think in the last 10 years we've seen a move between online and bricks and mortar. I think the two can coexist, and I think they have been coexisting successfully over the last few years. I think what this has done, unfortunately, in the last year is accelerated the fact that online is giving people the option to shop safely from their home. But I agree with Kate to an extent. However, I would say that what we've seen definitely in the UK when we were open is that people were much more focused in their shopping. And actually what we did see is, even though there was a dip in footfall and a dip in the overall sales to the previous year, which you would naturally expect, what we did see is a more focused shopper who spent more money. So people actually came out, spent more money. I think what we're going to see is people return. As Kate said, shopping has changed and retail has to change with that. And part of that will be about being more safe. Health and safety is much more of a key focus. And we know that from the guests that we surveyed, 95% of the guests surveyed were happy with the safety measures introduced, and actually highly satisfied guests in terms of health and safety spend 10% more money and dwell longer within a shopping mall.
Kate, I presume there is a huge level of pent-up demand for the normal activity of going shopping when people can.
We're creatures that enjoy social being. We are social beings. We want to be together. We want places to dwell. Shopping is so much more than a buy-in, purchasing experience when done right. And I know particularly outlets that have offered much more of a day out and experience have been ones that have been able to embrace consumers when they've felt safe to do so. But we've got to understand that it's certainly going to be, if it's an in-store retail offer, it's got to be service-led. It's got to be about excelling the opportunity to serve the customer rather than just putting garments out to sell. Online can facilitate that with ease. And I think also, we have to be realistic about online. Online's gone through such growth right now that there are teething problems at a lot of major organisations. We've heard about major service issues there too, particularly in returns and delivery slots. So there might be a little bit of a pushback where people do level out their spending because they've had some bad experiences perhaps with this surge online. I think all in all, customer is king and queen, and retailers who are reflective of that and respectful of that are going to be the beneficiaries in the years to come. This is very much a tail wagging the dog.
And Peter, at the designer outlet you manage, how are retailers coping there? How are they getting through this period with still no definite news on when they may be able to reopen again?
I think for the last few months since we reopened in June, I think people have responded well. I think people realise that we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and the priority is people's safety, not just the customers who are visiting, but the staff and the people that work within the centres across the UK. And I think that once people are able to come out of that, and I do believe that we will come out of it. I do believe that that this will be our kind of last big national lockdown, and I think that we will return to some sort of new shopping behaviours. And I think people are desperate to get out. I think people are desperate to have a day out, and the malls and centres that manage it well, like ourselves, will be the ones that will benefit from it, because people will be looking for that relaxed and the opportunity to have a coffee and walk around and experience a nice environment. As Kate said, that's what's going to be the difference.
And absolutely, I hope you are right. We all hope you are right, Peter. But just finally and briefly, if you would, Kate, clearly the online operation of many retailers is allowing those physical stores to stay there dormant for the moment. Do you think it's inevitable that we may see some of those retailers fold completely, or perhaps move just to an online presence?
Sadly, we've got to understand, we were looking in 2009 around a 1 in 4 vacancy rate in some places. I think that's going to be much, much higher as we move into the next couple of years. The challenge is we've got to make sure the plans to reinvent the high streets, which can't just be around retail, move much faster than they have been doing. This has been a conversation for 10 years now. We need to see speed. OK, Kate Hardcastle and Peter Core, thank you both very much for your thoughts today. Good to have you with us.